The dust rose in slow waves as the stagecoach rolled away, leaving her alone on the edge of the Wild West town. People whispered, doors shut, eyes turned away. No one wanted trouble, and trouble followed her like a shadow. She stood there, clutching a torn shawl, unsure which way to walk, when a man stepped forward from the crowd. He was tall, quiet, with a weathered hat pulled low and eyes that had seen too much. Folks knew him as the loner rancher who kept to himself beyond the red hills. Without asking her name, he handed her water and said she could walk with him until nightfall. That small kindness saved her life, though neither of them knew it yet. On the trail, she spoke little. She said she had been chased from another town, blamed for something she didn't do. He didn't press her. The West taught men to listen more than they spoke. When riders appeared on the horizon near dusk, he pulled her off the road and hit her among the rocks. Shots rang out, wild and careless, but the riders passed without seeing them. That night, by a low fire, she finally slept without fear. He watched the stars and wondered why fate had put her in his path. Days passed on his ranch. She helped with small chores, learning the rhythm of a place that felt safe for the first time in months. The town, however, buzzed with rumors. Some said she was a thief, others said worse. The rancher ignored it all. He believed in what he saw, not what men said. One evening, a deputy rode up with questions. The rancher stood firm, saying she was under his protection. The deputy warned him that protecting the wrong person could cost him everything. The rancher nodded, already knowing that. As weeks went on, a quiet bond grew. Not loud or rushed, but steady, like the land itself. She laughed sometimes, a sound that surprised them both. He smiled more than he had in years. Yet every night, she woke from dreams, shaking, as if running from something unseen. He noticed scars on her hands that didn't match her story of being only a traveler. He noticed how she flinched at the sound of chains at the cattle gate. Questions formed, but he pushed them aside, afraid that answers might break what little peace they had. Trouble arrived with the wind. A group of men rode into town, carrying posters with a face that looked too much like hers. The charge written below was heavy, the reward heavier. The rancher saw the poster and felt the ground shift beneath him. He tore it down before anyone noticed and rode hard back to the ranch. She was packing when he arrived. Their eyes met, and the truth hovered between them, sharp and dangerous. She said she never meant for him to be involved. She said saving her had already put him at risk. He told her the West was full of risks, and some were worth taking. But as the sun dipped low, he realized the danger was closer than he thought, and the truth she carried was far bigger than a simple lie. That night, the truth finally came out, not in a rush, but in pieces that cut deeper with every word. She wasn't just a traveler accused by mistake. She was the daughter of a powerful man who ran deals in the shadows of the frontier. When she refused to be part of his crimes, he framed her and sent men to hunt her down, knowing the West would do the rest. The scars on her hands were from chains he used to keep her silent. The rancher listened, fists clenched, realizing the men with posters weren't after justice, but control. Before dawn, hooves thundered toward the ranch. Lanterns bobbed like fireflies in the dark. The rancher hid her in the old cellar and stepped outside alone. The leader of the group spoke with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, saying they only wanted to take back what belonged to them. The rancher said no one belonged to anyone. The standoff felt endless until shots cracked the silence. The rancher was hit, falling hard into the dust, but he fired back, buying her time. She didn't run. Instead, she came out of hiding with the papers she had kept hidden all along, documents that proved her father's crimes and named every man standing there. She shouted that the law was already on its way, that the truth would hang them all. It was a gamble, but the West was built on gambles. Sirens echoed from the distance as the deputy and his men arrived. The riders scattered, some captured, others disappearing into the hills. The leader was taken alive, his smile gone. The rancher survived, though the wound would trouble him for years. When he woke, she was there, holding his hand, tears streaking dust across her face. The town changed after that. People who once whispered now nodded in respect. The papers she handed over cleaned out more than one crooked badge and powerful name. She was offered protection back east, a chance to start over far from the dust and danger. The deputy said she deserved peace. On the morning she left, the rancher walked her to the edge of the property. Neither spoke much. The land stretched wide and quiet, as if listening. She thanked him for seeing her when the world only saw a poster. He said saving her wasn't the brave part, believing her was. She asked if he'd ever leave the West. He shook his head, saying the land had a way of holding on. As the carriage took her away, the rancher watched until the dust settled. Life returned to its routines, but he was no longer the same man. Months later, a letter arrived with neat handwriting and a pressed wildflower. She wrote that the truth had shocked everyone back east too, but it had set her free. She wrote that kindness in the Wild West was rarer than gold, and she had found it when she least expected. The rancher folded the letter and looked out at the horizon. He knew their paths might never cross again, but the West had a strange way of circling back. Saving her had changed both their lives, not because of the danger, but because truth, once faced, had a power stronger than fear.